how God works. The way I even got kicked out for the second time was like, it was all a part of the plan.
Yeah.
The first time I went, I didn't take it serious. I was mad that I was in remedial classes because after I realized what was going on, I was passing those tests like it was nothing. But I felt tried. I was in the class with people trying to get their life together. And the teacher would walk in, he walked in one day and he said, clap it up, everyone. Emmanuel was the only one that got 100 on his vocabulary test. And they in there clapping. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? Spell volcano? Man, so I'm like, my pride is in the way. I'm not taking these classes serious. So I get kicked out, had to go home for 6 months. I come back and I had to do summer school to try to catch up. Because mind you, my test scores were so low, I wasn't even in college. I was in the 13th grade.
Okay.
So let me make sure y'all understand what that means. I got accepted, but my test scores was too low to even be called a freshman.
You were
so
there
I had to pass
the
the remedial classes, and then I had to take the remedial classes for a year to become a freshman. I don't even know if that's legal. I don't even know if I'm gonna get y'all in trouble saying that, but that's what it was. So when I took summer school, I got kicked out again because I was just missing classes and didn't feel like going. And it was funny because one of the teachers, the same teacher, Mr. Davis, the same teacher, he came to me and he was like, hey, you're failing and I don't think you're gonna make it. And you got kicked out the first time, and you do know if you get kicked out this time, you gotta go home to 3 to 4 years and you can't go to no college in Georgia. And I'm like, oh, that's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And long story short, I failed anyway. And I'll just say he gave me a chance. He asked me to read this book, and it was another kid in the class that was in the same predicament as me. And he said, you have to present tomorrow. Read this book.
What was the book?
I forgot what the book was. It was a really nice book. I forgot what it was, but it was, like I said, it was me and this other kid, and the class was at 7 a.m., right? So he said, if you read this book, this should give you enough extra credit to, so you won't have to fail. I'm trying to help you out. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go home, I read the whole chapter book, whatever, because I know I got to present tomorrow. I get to class at 7 a.m., but I wasn't dressed properly because I asked my homeboy to borrow some, I didn't know you had to, when you present in college, you have to be dressed up. Like
at HBCUs,
yeah,
because I went to Hampton my first 2 years. So yeah, you have to dress up.
I asked my homeboy, and it didn't even cross my mind to try to clothes on. I just asked if he had anything that I can wear, to present. And he was like, oh yeah, I woke up at 6:45. Class starts at 7 a.m. And he's one of those teachers, if you come in at 7:01, 7:02, you gotta leave. So I wake up panicking like, oh, my class is way across. I gotta run all the way. So I try to close on at 6:45 in the morning. This man wears size 8 in everything. Shoes, shirt, pants. I put the pants on, they only come up to here. I put the shirt on, it's not buttoned up. So I'm like, yo, I'm wilding. So I did the best that I could with my outfit, threw on my little Jordan, some blue jeans with a polo button up.
Yeah.
Run all the way down to class, and the teacher looks at me, he goes, no, I'm sorry. You can't present. I'm not going to let you in my class present like that. It's over.
Wow.
And he said, the only way I'll let you, redeem yourself is if you go to the person that actually, the other guy that was failing, he's dressed up nice like a deacon. He's like, if you go over there and you ask him to, wait till tomorrow to present, then there's your chance. I was like, oh, cool, that's my boy. Like, I see him around campus, whatever. I go to him like, yo, I ain't got the clothes. Like, we can do this tomorrow. He was like, yeah, it's cool. Ain't nobody gonna see me in this. I'm like, all right, cool. I sit down. Teacher walks in, brings him out, and was like, hey, let me talk to you. He goes out there. He comes back in and start presenting. And I don't know what's going on. I'm like, oh, well, all I know is he told me we good. So whatever. Yeah. He up there messing up the book. Don't know. Like, I'm in the back of the class. Like, that's not what the book said. It says this. The students clapping like, oh, whatever. Long story short, the end of the summer school came, and I ended up failing. And I walked in. I was like, yo, what's up? Like, teacher, you said you was going to give me another chance. He said, did you come to me after class? He said, because when I brought that boy out there and asked what did y'all discuss, he told me he was going to present. I said, that's not what he told me, though. He was like, that ain't my problem. You should have came to me after. And I'm like, he said, I'm sorry, but you going home. You got to go home for a year. So I had to call my mom. I walked out of class and I said, Mom, I'm coming home for a year.
Wow.
And I started walking back to my dorm room. And the guy that lied, he saw me and he had his piece of paper. He's like, yo, E-Man, what's up? He's like, I passed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get to stay in college. You know what I'm saying? What about you? Did you pass? And I looked at him, I said, hey, dog, why would you lie? I said, why would you lie to the teacher and say you was going, you know what I'm saying, wait for me tomorrow, and then you went in there and did that. I got to go home for a year.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he goes, my bad, man. He was like, yeah, I shouldn't have lied. That's my fault. And before I could get, like, angry, I just looked at him and I was like, you know what? It's all good, dog. I was like, congratulations. Because in my head, if I was doing what I had to do in the first place, I would have never been in a position to hand you the ball to, you know, for me to be, you know, to have to go home. Yeah. So I was like, hey, man, it's all good, man. Yeah. Congratulations, cool. And that is exactly what I needed to go home, to work on asking all them questions, to take off like that. Because if it wasn't for him lying, I probably wouldn't have been where I am today. So you know, what is it, Romans, I hate that I can't remember the scripture, but all things work together for the good. Like, so for that bad situation that happened, that's exactly what needed to happen so God can do this for me. Yeah. So I'm just glad I had the right attitude when it happened.
You absolutely did, because most people wouldn't in that moment. Man, they would not have that attitude. But you've had this positive attitude and outlook throughout this entire part of your career in this season of your life. And so how did Wildin' Out then come about? Because you have all this viral success, you and your brother, you're making, you know, creating the content, and then Nick Cannon calls.
Yes. I signed with this production company, this label, and we started doing, like, you know, a lot more stuff on YouTube and things like that. And Nick Cannon, I had to go audition, actually. Me and my little brother went and auditioned. And at first, my little brother didn't get it, so it ended up just being me. So what happened was they ended up trying to call me. So that my label at the time, they were trying to make it a big deal. So they walked in with the cameras and stuff. I'm like, man, what are y'all doing? It was like, there's a phone call for you. I get on the phone, and it's the people saying, hey, man, just want to say you made it. And I was like, thanks. And that's not the reaction that, you know, they want. I'm like, I appreciate it. I don't know what I thank you. So I ended up talking to Nick, and he was like, yeah, man, I've been a fan of yours, been watching your videos, dog. Really, you know, glad to have you on the show. What's up? And I was like, that's cool, but I got this mixtape I want you to hear, Nick. You know what I'm saying? I've been working on my music, bro. That's what I really want to do. And Nick was like, all right, like, bro, I'm finna give you the opportunity to, like, you want to talk about the mixtape? You know what I'm saying?
So he presents you with Wildin' Out, and you're like, so I got a mixtape I've been working on.
That's the first thing, man. How you feel? Feel like you should listen to the mixtape, but I'm really him. I'm really him. It's an old mixtape called No Title Needed. It's still on there, whatever. I was creating right now while I was in college or whatever. But that's how that ended up happening. And then, like I said, man, the rest was just pretty much history. Ended up on the show, had to find myself and find my niche for the show. And then, you know, the rest was just history. Like, I ended up being a veteran on the show.
Hey, Vault family, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, make sure to check out our full interview on our channel at Vault Empowers Talks. We don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential leaders and change makers. Don't forget to like, to comment, and be sure to subscribe for more inspiring conversations. See you next time.